of September 2020. We are continuing with our Arabic language level 1 at the Barak Bodawa Foundation. First of all, allow me to welcome all of you all again to join the class. We hope and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala He bless us with beneficial knowledge and make it easy for us to learn the language of Arabic. So today, inshallah, we'll move on. Just get an idea of what we intend to do. So we'll do an introduction to the class, basically what is about again, because I'm noticing that there may be one or two new people who would have joined the class. Then we'll do a quick revision of our last class, and we'll go on to some fundamentals of the language, certain things that we need to know that are there in the Arabic language, which would be like parts of speech, gender, number, person, and so on. We may have some review question, and at least you'll learn how to say my, in Arabic. Okay. There's also vocab practice. So let's begin our work. So alhamdulillah, last week we did an introduction by stating the importance and the benefits and the virtues of the language. Inshallah, those who would have missed that, you can get the recordings for that from last week. Okay, you can probably contact them at BDF and they will provide it for you all. We went on to do some revision with respect to vocabs and the application of statement like, what is this? This is so and so. Is this so and so? Those type of questions. So let's start with that point and revise our vocabulary. Now, even though you may not be repeating so that I can hear you because your mic is off, I need for you to see it, because it is not just only for you to just listen only. Mashallah, you might listen and you'd probably learn your vocabulary and what have you. But if you can say it as well, it would be helpful in actual articulation, and it would assist even in speech, in basic Arabic conversation. So let's get on to our class itself. So firstly, last week what we did was we introduced this vocabulary. So I'm going to go through it you all firstly. I'm going to ask you, ma hadha, what is this? And your answer will be, hadha baytun, hadha baytun. So we used hadha and we also use dhalika. Hadha is used for something that is close to us. Dhalika is used for something that is far or distant from us. Hadha and dhalika are both used for masculine words. Ma hadha, what would the answer be? Hadha masjidun. Hadha masjidun. I can ask the question, ahadha masjidun? Your answer will be, la, hadha baytun. I can ask, ahadha baytun? You say, la, hadha masjidun. Okay, going on to the next vocabulary. Ma hadha, answer will be, hadha babun. Hadha babun. This is the door. Ma hadha, hadha kitabun. I'm asking you now, ahadha kitabun? La, hadha babun. Ahadha babun? La, hadha kitabun. Okay, so we just revising those formulas as we go along, inshallah. Ma hadha, hadha qalamun. Hadha qalamun. Ahadha miftahun? La, hadha qalamun. Ma hadha? Hadha miftahun. So everyone, miftahun. Wa ma hadha? Hadha maktabun. هذا مكتب. أهذا مكتب؟ لا. هذا سرير. سرير. See that? ما هذا؟ هذا كرسي. هذا كرسي. Okay, so once more before you move on. Baitun. Say that. Baitun. Next one. Masjidun. Masjidun. Babun. Babun. Kitabun. Kitabun. Qalamun. Qalamun. Miftahun. Miftahun. Maktabun. Maktabun. Sarirun. Sarirun. Kursiyun. Kursiyun. Now remember, I had advised you all in our last class that we learn through immersion in the language. So I did not translate it there. But when you hear Baitun, you should be thinking in your mind, house. Okay? And likewise for all of those vocabs. So let's move on to our next slide. Okay, so we have here Man hadha. Man hadha. Remember we said for a person we will use man. Man hadha. Who is this? Man hadha. Hadha. You all can remember? Tabibun. Say Tabibun. Doctor. Tabibun. Dhalika. Now I'm going to use Ma dhalika. Ma dhalika. What is that? A star. There's a surah of the Holy Quran with this name. Najm. So hadha najmun. Hadha najmun. And you can see if I'm asking ma dhalika, our answer will be dhalika najmun. Ma hadha? Hadha qamisun. Hadha qamisun. This is a shirt. Wa man hadha? Man hadha? Hadha talibun. Talibun is student. Talibun, student. Man hadha? Hadha rajulun. Hadha rajulun. Ma hadha? No. So when we speak about animals and non-human things, if you have to ask question, we will ask with the usage of ma. And when we are speaking about humans, we will say man. Man hadha, man hadha, man dhalika. But you will say ma hadha, ma hadha, ma dhalika. Ma hadha, hadha qittun. Hadha qittun, a kitten, cat. Ma hadha, hadha himarun. Hadha himarun. Ma hadha, hadha hisanun. So you can ask questions. So I can ask you, ahadha hisanun? And your answer will be la. Hadha himarun. Ahadha qalbun? La. Hadha qittun. Ahadha hisanun? Naam. Yes. Hadha hisanun. So we see the usage of these here, right? Moving on. This here is a camel. Jamalun. Today we'll be doing some of these words here as well. Jamalun. Jamalun. Jamalun is camel. Jamal. Jamal. Right? Jamalun. Now, to remember this word easy, I'm sure that you know somebody by the name of Jamil or Jamila. Right? Just think about Jamila, not as a camel, because she will get vexed with you. Right? But it's a symbol, you know, it resembles it. So we have Jamalun, camel. And we all probably, when we would have gone for Hajj, we went to Jabalur Rahma, Jabal, with a ba instead. So with a ba, It's a mountain. And here the camel seems as though there's a mountain, a jabal on its back. So everybody went for Hajj, and whosoever would have gone and hear about Jabal or Rahmah on the day of Arafah, everyone wants to go to the Jabal, Wahad al Jabal, so the Quran mentioned, and this mountain. So therefore, the word Jabal with a ba is mountain, and just remember meme is camel, Jamal. Next word, deacon. Deacon is rooster. Deacon, rooster. Deacon, rooster. Man هذا؟ أهذا طبيب؟ لا، هذا مدرس. مدرس. Say that everyone. مدرس, a teacher. مدرس, teacher. A stone. How do we call the black stone again? Al-Hajar al-Aswad. So therefore, we have here Hajarun. Hajarun. Hajar. Hajarun. Hajarun is stone. Sugar. Sukkarun. So you ask the question, Ma hadha? Hadha sukkarun. This is sugar. Ahadha qamisun? Qamisun. What is qamis? Qamis is a shirt. So I'm asking, Ahadha qamisun? The answer will be La. Hadha mindilun. Mindilun. Say that everyone. Mindilun. Mindilun is a kerchief. Hadha mindilun. This is the kerchief. Continuing, we have the person in front. Man hadha? Hadha imamun. Hadha imamun. So you have the imam, imamun. Well, we know that word already. Man hadha? The trader, the merchant. Hadha tajirun. This is the merchant. Then we have Hadha halibun. Halibun. Halibun, milk. Now there is another word that is often used, which is labanon. Labanon, and some of you all probably would know of this word. But there's a slight little difference in laban and halib. Halib is more the milk that we drink from the cartoon and so on, whilst laban is a type of yogurt. It resembles it, but it's more like a yogurt texture. Okay, Lebanon. So Lebanon is spelled similar to that. So you have here, for instance, Lebanon. Okay. Lebanon is milk as well. Sometimes it is used, but it's more like a kind of yogurt texture, whilst halibun is milk. So let's move on. Last week we started the book by Professor Abdul Rahim, and what we went through there is basically an example of it. I want to continue with this book. I had sent this on the group. I hope everyone would have gotten a copy of it. Okay. So we had reached, I think, on page 8, page 9, right? So let's start back at page 9. Page 8, page 9. So the question is that we have here, Ahadha himarun. What's the picture? Ahadha himarun. The answer to that will be La hadha hisonun. Say that everyone. La hadha hisonun. No, this is a horse. The next question. Ma hadha. What is this? And the answer will be Hadha jamalun. Jamalun. So note what we have here. We have the meme. Okay, we have the meme, and that meme, it indicates, the camel. But if we have a ba, tell me what it would be. It would be a mountain, as though you have a mountain on his back. Next question. Ma hadha, ma hadha, or ma dhalika. The answer will be dhalika deacon, dhalika deacon. That is a rooster. That is the rooster. Um, Next one. Man hadha, hadha mudarrisun. So say after me. Man hadha, hadha mudarrisun. That's the teacher. The exercise. I ask you all to go through this. Um, it is simple here. Just I want to move on to something that is new. Okay. I ask you all to go through these points to me, right? Which is how to say what in Arabic. We use mahada. This is the book. Hada kitabun. Hada kitabun. This is the book. Ahada baitun. Is this a house? So we ask for that purpose. We have the word na'am, na'am, which means yes, and la, which means no. Okay. Continuing. Some points to note. We have hadha, and you see this is pronounced as hadha, as we lengthen it. This really seems to be like a stroke coming down here. A kara aleph or a standing fatha, we often refer to as. Okay, so hadha, which means this. We also learn that in Arabic there is no word that corresponds to the English is, a or am, but that is left understood between the two words. So if you want to say the boy is a student, the is, we would not find any Arabic word to represent that directly. Continuing, we mentioned that there is no word that represents a in Arabic. However, what is seen from it is that we have a tanween. So baitun really gives the meaning of a house. Okay, there's a particle that is added to the singular word to give the meaning of the. You'll learn that afterwards. And these are the vocabulary, basically what we would have done just now there. I'll go through it quickly again. Okay. The more we go through it, inshallah, we'll learn it better. And I am asking you all to take your time and try to write it. Learn to write it as well. Okay. You need to practice to see how it is written here. Use the same thing. Inshallah, I can send some writing sheets on the group. You all can, they will forward it to you all and request from BDF the writing sheets. Okay, you can send it, you can download it and print it and practice writing. Now, because in Arabic there are specific ways in which we join letters. There's an initial way, the middle, the ending, how we join the letters accurately. It's important. So quickly here you have Baitun house. Once more, everyone say after me. Masjidun mosque. Babun door. Kitabun book. Qalamun pen. Miftahun key. Maktabun table or desk. This is really a desk. A maktab is more like a desk or a writing table, as is written here. Sarirun, bed. Kursiyun, chair. Najmun, star. Qamisun, shirt. Tabibun, doctor. On the other side, waladun, boy. Tolibun, student. Rajulun, man. Tajirun, merchant. Kalbun, dog. Qittun, cat. Himarun, donkey. Hisonun, horse. Jamalun, camel. Deacon, rooster. Mudarrisun, teacher. Mindilun, kerchief. So Alhamdulillah, we have finished off the first lesson. So now we are going on and moving on to the second lesson. So I'll spend about a 10 minutes or so with this lesson. And then we'll move on to some grammar itself. So this here is ad-darsu thani. The word dars in Arabic means lesson. Athani means the second. So the second lesson. Yeah, this translates lesson 2, but it's like an adjective noun construction where you're describing it. So you will say the second lesson. Okay, and this lesson deals with dhalika. Now, we already mentioned about this. What did we say about dhalika? Dhalika is used to demonstrate or to indicate when something is a distance away from us, it is far from us, and along with that, it is masculine. Masculine. Okay, so the word is masculine. So, like for instance, this boy or girl is looking at the star and is asking, Ma dhalika, ma dhalika, what is that? And the answer is dhalika najmun. That is a star. We did that already. Hadha masjidun or dhalika baitun. So the person is standing in front of the masjid. The masjid is close to him. So what you would say? Hadha. Because hadha is used to show something that is in close proximity. So you'll say hadha masjidun. But the house is way at the back. And you will be therefore be saying وَذَلِكَ بَيْتٌ هَذَا مَسْجِدٌ وَذَلِكَ بَيْتٌ, because it is a distant away. Both of these words, masjidun and baitun, are masculine words. So we'll use hadha, which agrees with masculine, and we use dhalika, which again agrees with masculine. Now, even though we are saying hadha masjidun, this is a mosque, do we see any word for is? No. So I'm just reiterating the point that was mentioned earlier. There is no word that represents is or am in Arabic. Look at this here again. So what do we have for? The himar. And what is close? The hison. So what are we going to use for hison? We'll say hadha hisonun. وذلك حمار. Everyone say after me. هذا حصان وذلك حمار. So if we have to ask this question to someone, we can convert the same thing into a question by asking, ما هذا وما ذلك? Understand that? ما هذا وما ذلك? What is this and what is that? And the answer will be هذا حصان وذلك حمار. Here we also have a demonstration. The boys are pointing at the cat and they are pointing at the tree. But both of these are actually far away, right? So the question is, Adhalika kalbun? Is that a dog? Okay, Adhalika kalbun. That is a cat. So the response was, La dhalika qittun. No, that is a cat. Continuing again. They are pointing towards the bed, which is a bit distant away from them. So the question, ma dhalika, what is that? The distance away, using dhalika masculine. And the answer will be dhalika sarirun. Dhalika sarirun. That is a bed. Continuing. So we will now also apply the same concept of hadha and dhalika as regarding human beings. So if someone is close to us, we will say man hadha. And if a person is further away from us, like if a person is standing at this point here in front of the board, you will say man dhalika. Who is that? So the question here is man hadha or man dhalika. Who is this and who is that? And the answer will be hadha mudarrisun wa dhalika imamun. This is a teacher, and that is a bit distant away. Wa dhalika imamun, and that is a imam. Rajulun, you could say many things. Wa dhalika imamun. Question. Ma dhalika, what is that? It's a bit distant away, isn't it? So therefore the answer will be dhalika hajarun. That is a rock or stone. So here we have sukar. Sukar is sugar. So we asking the question now. You can ask the question. Ma hadha wa ma dhalika? What is this and what is that? And the answer will be hadha sukkarun, referring to the sugar in the bottle. Wa dhalika labanun, and that is milk. Or you can say what? Wa dhalika halibun. Dhalika halibun. Okay. Hadha sukkarun وذلك لبن. As I told you all, laban can be used for, it is like milk in itself, and it is used as milk, but sometimes there is a distinction in it, in that if sometimes you ask for halib, you get real milk in itself, whilst laban, you may get something like curdled milk. Okay, moving on. Here's some exercise. I would like for you all to review this. Right, there are some new words that have been mentioned here, but we already went through those words. And then you have some points to remember. I'm going through this now with you all. What are the points to remember? In this lesson, we learn the use of dhalika, meaning that, and wa. Now, if we have the letter wow with a fatha on top, which is wa, it means and. So we can say, for instance, hadha baitun wa dhalika masjidun. Hadha baitun wa dhalika masjidun. This is a house and that is a masjid. I want to indicate something here to you, and this is important when writing. What it is? Dhalika is pronounced as dhalika. So you don't write this. You write it in this form. Dhalika. Dhal, lam, and kaf. It is written without the alif. The word wa is written close to the following word. See here. Now, even though wa is a word in itself, any word that is actually a single letter will be written in Arabic closer to the following word. I want to say that again. Any word in Arabic which is really a single letter, like for instance, wa, it's a single letter, it's a word. It will be written closer to the following word. So normally you have here, for instance, hadha space baitun. But when we write in the wa will be written closer to the following word. We'll say wa, no space, dhalika. Understand that, everyone? Or dhalika masjidun, and that is a mosque. Some vocabulary that was done. Imamun, imam. Hajarun, stone. Sukkarun, sugar. Labanun or halibun, as we said, milk. And that is the second lesson. Next week, inshallah, we'll start at this point, which is ad-darsu thalith. So you all can review and make sure you learn up all those words and practice those simple statements within and around your home. Okay, so we will conclude that part of it, which is the Medina book by Dr. Professor Abdul Rahim, and we'll continue with our grammar here. We have just about a half an hour to go through this. So we are going to get into Arabic grammar itself. So far we're doing more like adab, learning words and what have you. But we also need to get into grammar to understand laws. So al-lughatul Arabiya, the Arabic language. And here we are going to touch on some of the fundamentals. Many of these laws are written by in the book Basic Arabic Grammar, written by Mufti Kahiam alayhi rahmah. Okay, so first of all, some basic concepts of Arabic. There are two sections of Arabic language. If we were to take the language and dissect it, break it up into sections, how many sections are we going to get? Two sections. We are going to get only two sections of the Arabic language. These two sections are, and you can read Arabic after me, an-nahu, an-nahu. See that? An-nahu. Notice I'm pronouncing a wow at the ending. Normally it is sometimes, we pronounce it an-nahu, as though you have a U here. But usually an-nahu, right? Which deals with more grammar. So this is a very brief understanding of what the whole topic deals with. It deals with grammar. And the second part of the language is what is known as as-sarf. As-sarf. Say that, everyone. As-sarf. So we have an-nahu, which is grammar, and as-sarf, which deals with inflections. Nahu, grammar, and as-sarf, inflections. But when we speak about Nahu, let's get a little broader understanding of what Nahu is. So we're going a little more into the type of language. Now, I am going to relate to you certain examples, and the examples may seem to be something that you have not done before, and I'm sure for those who are beginners. However, the objective of it is for you to get an appreciation and an understanding of what a Nahu deals with. Likewise, I will be dealing with some examples of surf, and the objective of it is really for you to get a broader picture and a better understanding of what a surf is. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, even though you don't understand those all them technical thing, and we're going to deal with some Arabic that may be a bit higher than you feel your level, don't think that, oh, we have moving so fast. This is just examples. We haven't reached there with respect to the laws as yet. We are just using it as an example so you get an idea what we're talking about in the definitions. Okay? I am saying that before I started because I know some people say, boy, them things singing hard, boy. You know, we don't want that from you all at this stage. So, okay, what is the definition of Nahu? Nahu is the knowledge of such principles. So it is knowledge. What is knowledge? Knowledge is something that a person learns, like theory, right? So Nahu is the knowledge of such principles. Principles are rules, guidelines, laws. So a person who knows Nahu will learn, you would have the knowledge of such laws and guidance. And what would those laws and what would that knowledge help to do? That knowledge now will be able to guide him upon knowing the conditions of variability and invariability. So let's do it again. Nahu is the knowledge of such principles by which the conditions of variability and invariability of vowels. Take a note of this, of vowels of the last letter or letters of any Arabic word can be recognized. So the knowledge of how these things could be recognized is really Nahu, as well as the grammatical structures in sentences. I'll give you all a little thing to digest that. So what is that again? Nahu refers to knowledge of such principles by which the conditions of variability and invariability of vowels of the last letter or letters of any Arabic word can be recognized, as well as the grammatical structures in sentences. You know, there's a simple thing. Now let's look at these slides here and get a better idea of what we're talking about. We are seeing here the word waladun. Everybody know what is waladun. Waladun means a boy. But what are we recognizing with the word? Waladun the word has a dhamma on the last letter. Okay? That same word waladun is sometimes read with a fatha, waladan. And yes, it may be read with a kasra as well, waladin. So because these are changes, and where is the place of the change? The last letter or letters of the Arabic word. And this is really in the last letter here you're looking at. There are changes, and the changes that occurs in the last letter is through vowel changes. Dhamma, fatha, kasra. Okay? These are indicators that there are some type of variability. So it varies because if it was not variable, then it would have remained a constant. It would have been waladun all the time, no matter what situation the word comes in. So the word waladun can change at time. And we know that sometimes we say, you know, Bismillahi, Allahi is read with a kasra. But then we'll say Allahu la ilaha illahu, Allahu with a dhamma. Why? Why is it that we are changing a dhamma to a fatha to a kasra? Okay? We say For example, Rasulullahi. But in Adhan, what do we say? Ashadu anna Rasulullah. Anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Anna, ya Muhammadun, Muhammadan, Muhammadan. It changes. What are the reasons for it? Sometimes we hear about the Muslimun, Muslimun. But then we hear about Muslimin. We have Masjid al-Muttaqin. But the Quran says Muttaqun. So you have Muttaqun changing to Muttaqin. There are changes. So the point of mentioning those things at this stage, based upon our own practical knowledge as Muslims, as people walking around the place, reading a little bit here, seeing the name written on a wall, hearing people talking, hearing the imams, we realize, yes, there are changes. And do you know what answers the question for us? Why these changes take place? What are the factors for these changes? The law of Nahu, or the study of Nahu. It tells us the grammar of the word. Why are we changing this Dhamma to a Fatha to a Kasra times? It tells us the position a word plays in a sentence. Follow? What position does the word play in a sentence? And does that position, does it have an influence on the vowel? So what is it that we are learning when we are doing those things? We are learning Nahu, or grammar. Right? Let me go to the next slide and you'll see further. As I was saying, we have the word Muslimun. We hear about Muslimun, eh? Innamal mu'minuna ikhwah. Verily the Muslimun, the believers, mu'minun, Muslimun are brothers. But many places we hear about Muslimin, as we see here, and Muslimin. It shows that there are changes. Where are these changes taking place? It is occurring with a few letters. It is occurring with the change of vowels. Okay, so the topic that actually identifies for us why these changes are taking place and what these changes should occur towards and what function it plays in the sentence is the subject in the Arabic language called Nahu. Okay, so I want to read back the definition and see if it makes better sense now. Nahu is the knowledge of such principles, right? You know the laws now, by which the conditions of variability and invariability, it could change, it can change. Some words could change, some words can change, okay? Of what? Of vowels, of the last letter or letters of any Arabic word can be recognized. So it mentioned here about the changing and the variability taking place with vowels. And where would those vowels occur? In the last letter. Waladun, waladan, waladin. Or letters. Muslimuna, muslimina. Okay, so you have the change of letters there now of any Arabic word can be recognized. So once you could recognize it, the reason for the variability, where the changes take place, how it changes, then we have learned Nahu. We know the principles, that is Nahu, and the grammatical structure in the sentences. So as a key here now, we have waladun. When would we say waladun? If this word comes as the doer of an action. So like an action word, eat. If we say a boy ate, then we'll read waladun, because he is the doer of the action. Who did the action? A boy. He is the doer. So we simply put waladun. Now there's a little hint of why, right? I'm just giving you a little flavor of it. Then we have the word waladan. Question is, why are we saying waladan? One of the reasons, now not all the time, but one of the reasons is when the word is an object receiver of an action. So if we say, for instance, Zaid hit a boy. Who hit? Zaid. So we'll have to read Zaid with Tanwin Dhamma. Zaidun. Who hit? Zaid. Who did Zaid hit? A boy. So a boy is the receiver of the action. All right, so it is fulfilling the function of a receiver of the object. And as such, to show that, we're going to apply fatha. So this is the reason why we are saying fatha here. And sometimes we might have the word being read with a kasra on the last letter. And a simple reason could be when the word is used after a preposition. Prepositions are like on, off, to, by, you know. So you can say, for instance, Zaid went by a boy. By, by a boy. So you have be, by a boy. So by is a preposition. Wala din. So when it comes after preposition, it causes an effect on the word that it changes to kasha. So these are just three reasons. There are other reasons as well why a word could exist in it, but these are some basic reasons there. So we have an understanding of it in normal words. Look at this here. We have Muslimuna, wow sakin before which is a dhamma. When it comes as a subject, right? So it's a different type of word. When it comes as a subject, what do you do of the action? If it is that same word takes a ya sakin and kasra instead of muslimuna, muslimina. One reason for that could be when it is an object of a sentence. So here, do of the action. The Muslims eat. Who ate? Muslims. So read it, muslimuna. If it is that we want to use it as an object, the receiver of an action, we can say, the man helped the Muslims. So who received the help? The Muslims. So they face the receiver of the action. We take a ya sakin before which is a kasra. Muslimina. And if it comes after a preposition, like to the Muslims, the boy ran to the Muslims. So you're going to have ila muslimina. Muslimina. Now I am not expecting you all to grasp all of these laws that I say in here one time. The only objective of this is to show you where changes take place. And I'm sure you all can see it with the colors. You see in blue, red, and green. There are changes, right? Una, ina. There are changes, and I'm telling you, the reason for these changes are the different functions, either subject, object, preposition, and so on in the sentence. Okay, let's move on there with that. Now, the second part of the language, as we saw in the first slide, is that we have a Nahu, which is grammar. And the second part is a sarf. A sarf, say that everyone. A sarf, which is often translated in a technical term to mean etymology. Etymology. What does this really mean? I am going to do the same thing. Give you the definition and throw a few examples for you to understand what sarf is, so that there is a difference in the two parts of the Arabic language. As I said, today the heading was fundamentals. We need to know where the language came from, different parts and different basic structures, right? So what is as-sarf? As-sarf is the knowledge of the inflections of words to express various meanings and to express the relation of case, number, gender, person, and tense. A lot of technical things here for a person who not studying grammar or probably would have done this in primary school, secondary school, whatever. I'm going to go through this with you all in a little while. So sarf deals with inflection. What are inflections? Inflections is where you have a root, and to that root we can add letters to it with a specific ruling or so, or in a fixed manner, and that now gives us new meanings. So you have a word, you make some little additions and deletions and little changes to the root, and that new or the offshoot from the root gives us various meanings, new meanings. As I said, that's the definition. When I go to the examples and we come back, you'll understand exactly what I'm speaking about. And the new meanings, it would be in relation to case, number, gender, person, and tense. What all these things mean? Let's look at some of the examples of sarf, right? We have these three words here: Muslimun, Muslimani, Muslimuna. What are these words? This is a singular word. Notice, noun is singular. In the singular form, it means one Muslim, masculine. What are we seeing here is that the word carries a dhamma, a tanwin dhamma. Okay, so that is like the root then, that's like the base. To this word, we want to do something. We add ani to the end of it. So we have Muslim, okay, Muslim. Then we add ani to it. It takes a fatha. So the tanwin is removed. We add a fatha and it becomes Muslimani, Muslimani. And what have we now formed? We have formed a dual form, two Muslims, masculine. So therefore, we are learning a pattern. Isn't that so? If we take a noun and add ani to it, that noun automatically gives the meaning of two. Let's try it. You all learned about book. What is book in Arabic? Kitabun. Kitabun. So it ends with a ba. What should we do then to form the dual? Take off the tanwin and add ani to it. So it becomes kitabun, become kitabani. And how many books would we get? 2 books. You would get 2 books. Okay. Likewise, we have baitun, house. Baitani, 2 houses. Bintun, girl. Bintani, two girls. And like that, we can use that for all nouns. So what are we learning is inflections. We have a root. We learn a specific type of ending or sometime in the beginning as well. And once we apply that to other forms of a like manner, we get similar meanings. So the principle is dual form. So we get the dual meaning from it. Okay. Now we have a singular, we have a dual. Here we have a plural. What did we do? We take Muslim and we add una to it. And what did we get? Muslimuna. Noun is in the plural form. Many Muslims. Suppose now we had the word. This is Muslim. We take in mu'min. Mu'min. How do we say 2 believers? Mu'minani. And how do we say many believers? Mu'minuna. The Quran speaks about those people who seek forgiveness. They do istighfar. They are known as mustaghfir. Mustaghfirun. Mustaghfirun. How do we say 2 people seeking forgiveness? Mustaghfirani. And how do you say many people seeking forgiveness? Mustaghfiruna. We hear about the mujahid. Who is a mujahid? Person who struggles in the path of Allah. So yeah, mujahidun, mujahidani, mujahiduna. You know the word nasirun. Nasirun is a helper. We add ani to that. Nasirani. What did we add? Ani. And we got the dual form, nasirani, 2 helpers. How are we going to say many helpers? We are going to add una to the word. Nasir plus una get nasiruna. Nasiruna means many helpers. So this is an example of sarf in action. We learn some form of a template, some addition, and that now gives us similar new meanings. Okay, that is one form. Likewise, there is sarf that exists with verbs. And I'm just showing you the introduction of verbs. I am telling you, this is not the lesson for it. This is just to teach you how it look like. Okay? So don't get confused. So much the hard thing one time. No. I want you to understand and appreciate the difference between Nahu and sarf. So we have here Nasara, which is he helped. How do we form the meaning of she? What did we do? We add a ta with a sukun to it. And we say Nasarat. 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 And it means she helped now. So we have learned a pattern. And so let's apply this to something. Words that we may know about. The word Ja'ala. Ja'ala in Arabic means made. Alam tara kaifa. Okay, we have the word fa'ala. Fa'ala means did. Fa'ala in Surah Fil. Alam tara kaifa fa'ala rabbuka. Alam tara. Do you not see? Fa'ala rabbuka. How your Lord dealt with. How your Lord did. What your Lord did with the companions of the elephant. So the word is fa'ala. Suppose now we want to say Fatima did. What would we say? We add a ta to the ending. So yeah, fa'ala becomes fa'alat. Fa'alat. She did. Now, we have here you, masculine singular, helped. Notice we have nasarta. The fatha that was on the row, it now takes a sukun. And then we added a fatha on the ta. So you really take this sukun and jump across and this come across. Understand? And it becomes nasarta, which means you helped. And your friend are masculine. You helped. Nasarta. So if we have, for instance, a verb, which like we have, for instance, fataha. Fataha, from this word you have fatiha, which is opening. We say fataha, fatahat, she opened, fatahta, you one man opened. We have here you feminine. How do we form this? Instead of a fatha, we use kasra. So with the same word, fatahta, if we say, for instance, fatahti, it would mean you, one woman, opened. Now I'm going to take this word and put a dhamma on it instead. So fatah, kasra, and dhamma with the same ta. So it now becomes fatahtu, I opened. Okay. Now nasar to mean I helped. And we just learning a pattern. If it is ta, you one man. T, you one woman. Tu, I. And if we add a long na in the ending, like nasar, na, it means we helped. So you say, for instance, fatah, na, we open. The Quran mentions, inna fatahna laka fatha mubina. Referring to the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, inna, verily we, fatahna laka, we have opened for you, fatha mubina, a clear opening, a clear victory. And this was in regards to when he was going into Makkah and the conquest of Makkah. So it is, so these are all templates for us to understand, whereby we can take another verb and apply it into it. What do we say when we make an intention to fast? Nawaitu. Notice the two here. I. The word nawa from niyat, it means to intend. So you say nawaitu. Anasuma. Nawaitu, I intend. Okay. So these two here, it just gives us a broad example of what sarf is, and I'm going to read back. Perhaps you'll understand it better now. A sarf is the knowledge of the inflections of words to express various meanings and to express the relation of case, number, gender, person, and tense. So we get the part about inflections. The word can change. It can flex, so to say. It can flex. You have addition, prefixes, and suffixes, and so on to the word. And those prefixes and suffixes now acts like a template, whereby if we apply other words of similar nature into it, we're supposed to get the same meanings, right? As I told you all, we have nawaitu, I, just like nasartu, I helped, I intend. You follow? Now, what does case, number, gender, and so on have to do anything here? Just passing through all of these things here, right? Right. We're going to come to that in a little while. But I mentioned it. Let's deal with it one time. Arabic language has two genders. So you mentioned about there must be, it expresses different aspects of gender, case, number, and so on. Let's get these fundamentals out of the way. How many genders does Arabic have? Two, masculine and feminine. We had mentioned this last week. There is no neuter gender in Arabic. So you say masculine, boy, feminine, girl. And in English, we might have a gender called neuter gender, book Book is neither masculine nor feminine. It is a neuter gender. But in Arabic, we say a word can either be masculine or feminine. There is no neuter gender. Therefore, the word like book, kitabun, we learn that this word is a masculine word. However, words which are masculine or feminine in nature will be attributed to either of the gender. Like for instance, you have mother, ummun. Ummun is feminine, so therefore it will be under feminine. You're speaking about we have father is masculine, boy masculine, girl feminine. We have bride, we have groom. Bride is feminine, groom is masculine. Okay, and like that, the genders themselves relate to its different forms. However, when there are different words being used, like for instance, we had the word maktabun. Maktabun is desk. We don't see a masculineness and a feminine desk, and that doesn't depend upon who using it as well. So if a boy using it, say, oh, that's a masculine desk. And if it's a girl using it, you'll say, oh, that's a feminine desk. No, it's not done like that. The word itself is taken based on the usage of the language. So the word desk is really a masculine word. Look at the word, for instance, sun. Sun, that is shining in the sky, that is called shamsun. Shamsun. That word is a feminine word, shamsun. What is the reason for it? Through the usage of the language. This is how it was used. And as such, it maintains like that. So the words which are generally masculine by nature or feminine by nature is simple. But the ones that are neuter gender, which is a lot of words, there are certain signs that will tell us, okay, this word is more likely a masculine and this word is more likely a feminine, right? Those things will identify as we go along, inshallah. Example, waladun, boy, najmun, star. But the word bintun is a feminine by nature, and gurfatun, a room, this is a feminine word. Now I'm giving you a hint now. You see, anytime you see this ta in the ending here, it's not a long ta like this, eh? This word is, this ta is there. Yes, it's the ta, but it is in relation to the nature of the word. She's a girl. Bintun is a girl, so therefore she's feminine by nature. But this ta, which is known in Arabic as the ta marbuta, or the feminine ta, when we see this, it's a hint that, you know what, this word is most likely a feminine word, right? So therefore, there's a little hint there example. Let's go again. So you spoke about numbers in Arabic. All right, we cannot go first there. Okay, so here what, right? Next class, we will start back at this point. I don't want to go beyond the timing. I know you will have your schedule and so on as well. So we have the numbers. I can go through it quickly with you. There are three numbers: singular, dual, and plural. Right? We did the dual. In English, we only have two, which is singular and plural. But in Arabic, we have singular, dual, and plural. Dual is two. How it is formed and what it signifies, inshallah, that will be done afterwards. We have the persons as well. There are three persons: first, second, and third. What they are, we will do that in our next class, inshallah. So just to recap quickly, this class we did a revision of the first person, of the vocabulary that was done in the first lesson, not the person, first lesson, right? The use of hadha, the use of zalika. We also went through how do we form these statements into questions by using ha or al, or using interrogative particles like ma, what is, or man, who is, okay, in that sense. Then we went into the differentiation of the different parts of the language. We say that there are two parts. What are the two parts? Nahu and sarf. Nahu deals with grammar, sarf deals with inflections of words. So we'll stop there, inshallah. We will continue in going through some of these fundamentals. This will take us probably a week again to finish off the basic fundamentals, and then we'll get into like how do we form sentences. But we'll continue with the other book by Professor Abdurrahim, inshallah, in which we see Arabic in action, how it is actually used, and we can also use, if you were to focus on that more, we can even use that for conversation. You can learn how those phrases are doing it and learn it for conversation as well. So, at the end of the class, we ask that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He guide us, He protect us, especially in this time of COVID and whatnot. May Allah protect us and our family. And we beg and pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us with beneficial knowledge that He uses for the spreading of His deen. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين جزاكم الله خيرا. Next week, inshallah, we'll continue our classes. Assalamu alaikum.